Welcome to another edition of The Burnout with yours truly, Anthony Knight. We got two stories that we're going to get into this morning that's rather disturbing, and neither one of these stories have a happy ending, as they say, but one of them is a little bit better than the other one, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Before we get into it, I always do an inspirational quote, and today's one is today won't be any different. And the one I want to get into today is, people learn how to treat you based on what you accept from them. If you accept garbage, they're going to treat you like garbage. If you accept a high quality of acceptance, well, then they're going to treat you that way. But you don't never lower your standards to appease anybody. And you know, the one thing that I learned, and it's very interesting, is that people never tend to entertain you until you've exceeded the expectations they have built for you. And that's the one thing I've done. I don't worry about what people say. I don't concern myself with what they think about me. I can care less. But you know, sometimes on these journeys, you have to go alone. You have to walk by yourself, and it's a lot of people don't want to or know how to. But you know, I've always said that what we do on the burnout is we're gonna give the information as straightforward as we can, as direct as we can. We don't sugarcoat it here. And we don't hide certain topics because of race or gender. We're gonna give you all the facts that we know based on the facts that we have, and that's how we will always continue being as we proceed. Well, the first topic that I'm gonna get into this morning is the incident that happened in, if I'm not mistaken, Denver, Colorado. It says police say armed man killed himself instead of carrying out apparent plan to attack amusement park. I really don't know if that's good or bad. You know, I know it's good because there was a lot of kids that probably going to be at that amusement park that are alive today because he didn't carry this out. But it's still a life lost because the gunman killed himself. So it's good in one hand and bad in the other one. But you know, we begin to see a trend with a lot of these mass shootings, and a lot of these mass shootings, what I call the copycat league. They see one person doing something, so they decide they want to do it. I don't really know what's going on through these people's mind that do these mass shootings. Besides, to me, they're a bunch of cowards. You know, that's all I can say. You know, that's a coward move, and as humans, we should be better than that. You should have no reason to go to an amusement park to want to kill anybody. And you know for a fact there was going to be a bunch of kids at this amusement park. So this was a plotted decision. I don't know if he decided when he got there that it was wrong, or he was in some kind of cult, and then when he got there he said, I'm not going to go through with it, and I'd rather kill myself than to harm anybody else. Because I remember on the wall of the bathroom they found him in, he put on the wall that he's not a killer. Maybe a conscience. You know, so let's just be honest. Sometimes you get in these things, and if you don't do it, they come after you. So he decided to just kill himself instead of dealing with the harsh reality of what he was going to have to deal with if he didn't go through with it. This news article is coming from the AP. And it says, a heavily armed man killed himself rather than carry out an apparent plan to shoot up a mountaintop amusement park in Colorado. His body discovered in a bathroom next to the words scrolled on the wall, I am not a killer, authorities said Monday. Diego Mende, 20, was found dead in a women's bathroom at Glenwood Cavern Adventure Park by a maintenance crew on Saturday morning before the park opened to the public. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, Garfield County Coroner Robert Glasmere said. Menendez apparently entered the park while it was closed, armed with a AR-style rifle, a semi-automatic handgun, and explosives, and were wearing body armor and tactical clothing similar to what a police SWAT team member might wear, authorities said. A message saying, "I am not a killer, I just wanted to get into the caves," was written on a wall of the bathroom where Menendez's body was found lying on the floor. Garfield County Sheriff Lou Valro said. Nearby was a handgun, explosive device, some real and some fake. He said the AR-style rifle was on the counter nearby along with a duty belt holding several ammunition magazines. Valro could not say for certain that Menendez wrote the message. There was no prior indication either at home or school suggesting he was planning an attack. Valro said, but the sheriff noted that investigators have not conducted any in-depth interviews yet. The FBI will help review Menendez's phone records and social media posting as part of the investigation, he said. Given the preparation, given the amount of weapons and ordnance he had, it almost seemed very highly likely he intended to use those against the community. He chose not to. Multiple improvised explosive device was found in the vehicle used by Menendez. Police said authorities searched the rest of the park for other explosives but suggested no other was found. Menendez's body was moved Sunday after the scene was deemed safe, according to the coroner. That's why I say I don't know if this is good or bad, because anytime there's a loss of life, it's not good. But on the other hand, his conscience might have played a role in it, and he just decided that this is not what he wanted to do. In that sense only, I'm glad that he did not go through with it. I'm glad that whatever was going through his head, he just shook it off and said, no, I'm not doing this. I just don't know what make a 20-year-old want to do that, to go and harm people who he doesn't know or who haven't done anything to him. You know, it's really hard this day and age to imagine you can't even go to an amusement park without being worried if somebody's gonna pull out a gun and just start shooting everybody. I just don't, I'm like a lot of people, I just don't understand why you think that was necessary or deemed that was correct. Yeah, I know it wasn't correct, so we ain't gonna say that. We're gonna deem that was right to have the mindset to go and do that anyway. And this happened in Denver, Colorado. I know that's a long way from here, but you know, trends tend to keep flowing east and west or west and east. I just don't get it. I don't understand why young men or young women, and mostly men, whatever they're going through, whatever part of life has took them, there's no legitimacy in harming others. You know, we're not going to always agree on everything, and everything's not going to always go your way. But there's still no reason for you to put somebody else in harm's way, a child, an adult. It doesn't matter. Everybody's basically trying to live their life. They don't. Most people don't want to be in those situations, and the ones that get in those situations find themselves that they don't think they have a way out. And in this case, he got involved in something, and the article didn't say what it was, or it didn't tell me if it was a group, or it didn't say if this was an isolated incident. But I'm just going to come to the decision that it was something that he got himself into and couldn't get out, because killing yourself is never the option. But he apparently did that because he felt like there was no other way out. So I'm just going to assume that this was something that he was signed up for, and he couldn't back out of it. The only thing that I'm grateful of is that he had a conscience, and that whatever made him change his way of thinking saved a lot of people. I wish he could have solved this a different way. Killing yourself is never the option. But in this case, he felt like it was. So, you got to feel for his family, because most of these people who do this have good family members. They have good parents, and they surroundings were average, as like all of us. And somehow he got into something that apparently he couldn't get out of, and killing himself seemed to be the easiest route. That's never easy. That's never the easiest route, or it's never the right route. It is a route, but not the best route. Like I say, it's a sad story, but it is also a fortunate one for all those that attend those amusement parks, because with that amount of ammunition he had, and with the AR-15 that he had, there was a lot of people he could have harmed or killed. Or as the AR style rifle, air rifle basically. And I still don't understand why anybody would sell that particular gun, because that's a gun of mass destruction. Most of these shootings, these mass shootings, an AR rifle is one of the guns they use. It's basically the gun of choice. And then when they get out of that, they pull out the handgun, and then they continue to go on the prelude of destruction. But these AR rifles need to be banned. You want to know the truth about it. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I got my Second Amendment to bear arms. But what are you going to shoot? If you go hunting, why do you need an AR? Why do you need an AR rifle to go hunting? If you can't hit the deer or whatever you're shooting with a shotgun or a regular rifle, then you really don't need to be in shooting. You don't need to be hunting, because evidently you're not a good shot, number one. Most of these mass shootings are done with an AR rifle, and everybody knows that. This is not rocket science. This is nothing that I'm saying that's surprising, because everyone we go in an article we go into, it's AR rifle, AR rifle, AR rifle, AR rifle. It's 99% is done with an AR rifle, and we can't see that there's a pattern here. There's a come on now, we got enough common sense to know that there is a pattern, that these guns are what the people want to use, because you can shoot more and it's more destructive. But the Rifle Association, they always go against this, because that's their revenue. When are people gonna put humanity over profit? But nobody's gonna do anything about this, because they generate so much money. And then you got the Rifle Association donating money to the people up there in the Senate and the House. So of course they're going to line up with them. They're going to say there's nothing wrong with having it. You know what's the funny thing about this? It's nothing ever wrong with it until something happens to somebody that you know. Then all of a sudden it's becomes wrong. Nobody does anything until it affects them or people that in their family. It's just like a stoplight. You can have the most dangerous intersection. And I'll give you an example. Highway 82 in Montgomery County, 231 Junction. That is a dangerous crossway. You gotta go across 231 North to get to 231 South, with the traffic coming on both sides. A light needs to be there. Everybody knows there's been multiple accidents at that particular junction. A light needs to be there. They have not even considered putting one there. And if they have considered, it was shot down. Wait until it kills somebody that they love or some of their family members. Then all of a sudden they need a light there. Why wait to do something just because it affects you when you know it affects other people? There's plenty of things that needs to be done that they don't do because it has yet to affect them. Once it affects them, now they want to make haste and go and do it. You know, that tells me a lot about your thinking. And the funny thing about it, you will put a light somewhere and ain't got no business being, but then the light where a light needs to be at, you won't put one there because you don't feel like there's a need for a light to be there. It's foolishness. But that's just like an AR rifle. People in Congress, people in the House of Representatives, people in the Senate, they're not going to move on to it because most of their kids go to private school. Most of their families is not subjected to what we have to be subjected to. But once it affects one of them, then they're going to put legislation on the board. See, the Democrats have been putting legislation on the board to ban these things, but the Republicans don't want to do it. I almost say what everybody knows, but nobody wants to say. That is fact. And like I tell like the young people, I got receipts. I got statements from CNN. I got documents from News Smart that shows this has been put down. This has been an ongoing argument up there, but they don't want it because the Rifle Association donates so much money to these organizations and some of money to these people that's running for re-election that they're not going to even touch it. Until, like I said, until one of their kids get affected or one of their family, just a family member gets killed by one of these guns, now you want to say you need to do something about it. Why wait when you can do it now? You know what? I would love to come in and have nothing but good news to talk about. Unfortunately, that's not the reality we live in, and that's not likely what's going to happen. Every now and then we get a good article of somebody did something heroic, or police did something that was above and beyond the call of duty. But those articles are so far and few in between that all the rest of these articles overshadow it. But the next article I got we got this from USA Today. It's a mass shooting, and I'm just so sick of seeing these mass shootings in Cincinnati, Ohio. And let me get into this article a little bit and give you a little bit of content of what's going on here. It says, sickening and unimaginable mass shooting in Cincinnati leaves 11-year-old dead, 5 others injured. Come on now. Let me just give you some content on what this means. Cincinnati officials are expressing outrage and horror at a drive-by shooting that sent more than a score of bullets into a crowd of children, killing an 11-year-old boy and striking 4 other children and an adult. The victims were near an intersection Friday night when an occupant of a dark sedan fired 22 rounds in quick succession, Police Chief Tara told reporters Sunday. Hit were boys aged 11, 12, 13, and 15, and a 15-year-old girl and a 53-year-old woman. One victim remained hospitalized in stable condition. Two of the children attended Cincinnati Preparatory Academy, including the boy who was killed. The other 3 attended Cincinnati public schools. One of the injured victims remained hospitalized in stable condition while others have been discharged. Cincinnati Mayor Prevail, who called the shooting sickening and unimaginable, said the kids were playing outside when the shots rang out of the city, West End. The scene just a short walk from a daycare, a girls' dance studio, and a playground. 22 rounds were fired, 22 rounds in a moment, into a crowd of kids. No time to respond, no time to react. Officials had not released any information about a suspect, nor have they said whether the shooting was targeted. The shooting is the latest incident in a wave of gun violence occurring across the country. As of late Sunday, there have been 596 mass shootings in the United States this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. More than 1,200 teens, ages 12 and 17, have been killed and 3,400 injured in 2023. According to the archive, more than 250 children aged 11 and younger were killed and nearly 570 were injured. Violence like this cannot be our status quo. This is not an act of God. This is not a natural disaster. This is the devastation, the harm, and the loss of life are a shock to us all. but they stem from actions of real people, and they are enabled by access to guns. City manager Cheryl Long told reporters, at times holding back tears during a Sunday afternoon press conference. Okay. Once again, another mass shooting. Like I said, it's west to east, started in Denver, and now we got one in Cincinnati, Ohio. The guy or the individuals, I don't know if it's a guy or woman. I don't know, don't care. But whoever did this, you're a coward. To shoot in an area where you know is predominantly occupied by kids, you are a straight up coward. There's no excuse for an 11-year-old to lose their life. There's no excuse for no child or anybody to lose their life over foolishness. Now, I don't know what you tried to accomplish by this. You are a coward. And I will say it again, you are a coward. Straight point. And you should be prosecuted to the maximum extent of the law. I just don't really know what to say. I don't know how to react to this. I really don't. I'm just puzzled that why would you do this? What? I just don't understand the purpose. What did you gain? I really don't understand anything about what you did. You accomplished nothing but take 11-year-old child life. That's all you accomplished. And that makes you feel good, I assume. If that makes you feel good. Is that how you get your kicks? You know, everybody that do these mass shootings, they want to play like they crazy. They want to play like some people are not crazy, some people are just evil. And I'm just going to be the first one to, and I don't care who likes it or who doesn't. Everybody does not have any business with a gun. And most people use guns the right way for protection in your house. When you walk around carrying a gun, what is that? What does that serve? That's only gonna get you in trouble. I got a gun permit. I got a gun license, but I don't walk around with no gun. I don't have to, because I'm not looking for any trouble, and I'm not looking for anybody to start any with me. But when you go around when nobody's even I don't even know how to articulate this, but if people are at a playground, or they at a park, or they at a gathering, and it's a bunch of kids there, a bunch of adults there, I don't understand what was your purpose to go there and to shoot in an area where you had a bunch of kids at. I don't get what you. I don't understand it, and it blows my mind that you found the audacity to go and do something like that, to take a young kid's life. For what? Because you got a gun? Everybody brave with a gun. That's what I tell them. Everybody's brave with a gun. You're a big man with a gun. Oh, you sitting high on the hog with a gun. You know why most people carry guns? And I'm just gonna, like I say, this is the burnout. We ain't holding no punches. Most people carry a gun because, and they quick to use a gun because they too scared to fight. They're too big of a coward to get a behind whooping. So the first thing they do is run and grab a gun and makes them feel good. Now, what your stupid behind don't have enough to see, that gun gonna get you 10 to 15 years when you use it the wrong way. Now, you ain't think that far ahead because you don't want to be what they call a punk. You don't want to be something that somebody says you're a coward. No, you're a coward when you pull the gun. You're a coward. When I was coming up, when I was in school back in the 80s and the early 90s, you showed how big of a man you are when there's adversity. If you had to fight, because we didn't condone it, but if you did it with fists. That shows you how big of a man you are. When you go and grab a gun, it shows me how big of a coward you are. But a lot of people like to go and hide behind a gun because they scared to take a butt whooping. They scared because they can't fight. So it's easy access to go and get a gun. It's easy access to get a weapon. See, this is what you ain't got enough sense to see. If you fight, the worst case scenario, you might spend a night in jail and you get out and you die. When you use a weapon and it's they call it it's lethal force, you going to prison for an extended period of time. Do y'all understand that when you kill somebody that's unprovoked, that's your life, 2 lives are lost. The person you killed and yours, because you're going to prison. See, if y'all take time out to think about this foolishness before you do it, you'll keep yourself out of a lot of trouble. But you're not going to think about it because you want to be the big man on campus. Those same boys that boast you up are going to be the same ones that turn your behind in. And see if they stand beside you. See if they're going to go with you. I'm just telling facts. We came up, we fought. And that was a disagreement. It's either you got your behind whooped, you won, you move on to the next day. These kids now are too big of a cowards. They too big to want to walk around. You ain't the first one who can get a gun. Your doggone sure ain't going to be the last. The Bible said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You better know that once you pull that trigger, there is no turning back. You can't stop what's finna happen. I don't care if you was in anger. I done seen women shoot women over men. I done seen men shoot men over women. But y'all please stop this foolishness. Because if you shoot a man over a woman, do you realize that this woman gonna move on to somebody else and your stupid behind gonna be locked up? Did y'all put that in y'all feeble minds? Have that calculated to any of y'all yet? And it's the first one. These women fighting over a man. If 2 women are fighting over a man, neither one of y'all got it. So one of y'all gonna get killed, the other one going to jail. Do you think this man gonna wait for your stupid behind? Do you really think that's how it works? Come on, people, get real. These shootings there's no purpose for them. It's dumb, it's stupid, it's idiotic, and it really tells me the level of intelligence of the person who did it. Because, this is what it's saying. I ain't gonna walk away because there ain't no punk. Guess what? That punk ain't in jail and you are. Guess who probably gonna be a punk before long? The one that's in jail. Yeah, I know you don't want to hear this, and I don't care. But I'm telling it like it is. Because we have to stop this foolishness. And then they got on here, given the city's rise in shooting involving teens, police have begun specifically tracking child homicide statistics. Tracking them for what? Track the people down that's doing it. Forget tracking the statistics. I already know how many have been killed. I don't need to know that information. Let's find out who's doing it. He said 40% of the illegal weapons on Cincinnati streets were taken from cars. City officials have made repeated calls for gun owners to lock up their firearms to prevent such weapons from being stolen and used in crime. This is what if you got your gun out where somebody can see it, they do a crime with it, you need to be locked up. Because you don't have enough sense to put your weapon away or lock it up. That's why a lot of kids and 3 years, 4 years get shot and killed with guns because the dumb gun owner put it where it was very accessible. Come on, people, it's common sense. You don't put a gun where a child can get it. You lock it up. Then the dumbest, well, if somebody break in, I ain't gonna get it. If somebody break in with a gun, you done anyway. What difference does it make if you can reach it or not? They're not gonna give you a calling card telling you, well, I'm gonna come break in your house at 1 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you ready. You get your gun stolen and it ain't locked up and it ain't in a secure place, they do a crime with it, you should be locked up because you're the stupid idiot that put the gun down where they can find it. You got too many kids are getting killed by weapons or shooting their other siblings because they found a handgun that an irresponsible adult put where they could find it. Yeah, I'm mad because I'm sick of hearing about these stories. This stuff could be prevented if you use a little common sense. But unfortunately, a lot of people that own guns use very little common sense to none. If you don't know how to properly store your weapon, you do not need one. Bottom line. I'm just sick of these stories here. Loss of life for no reason. It's unheard of that every week we got to go through this same thing about something that doesn't happen to innocent people because the wrong fool has a gun. When is it going to stop? What is it going to take? How much longer is this going to continue before we say enough is enough? Walking around with a gun on your hip does not intimidate me, and it doesn't intimidate a lot more people. You know what? I'm going to tell you like I know. If you get in a confrontation and you got a gun on your hip, and we done got to the point where something's going to have to happen, I'll have you before you get the gun out of the holster. And most other people would too. That doesn't intimidate anybody. It doesn't show you what kind of big man you are. It doesn't show anything. It just shows me you are that big of a coward. That's what you have to claim you protecting yourself. The right to bear arms does not give you the right to use it unnecessarily. So don't try to use the Second Amendment to make your argument. Well, that's another edition of the Burnout. Hey man, this 30 minutes fly by, but we have so many topics we have to get to. We have so little time to do it. Hey, but stay tuned. We'll be back, same place, same time next week on the Burnout. And remember, always flame up, but don't burn out. See you next week. 2 fingers, peace.